afterwards, right? Of course, we don't want this to be a steamroll, but it's going to be looking like a steamroll early on here.
Yeah, it's something where if the Tempests come out strong, it's going to be really hard for the Embers to come back and kind of recuperate because the Tempest are, again, as I said, they're such a strong defensive team. Each of their team or each of their players averaging over a save a game. Their rotation is solid. That's what those those score lines prove. That's what those stat lines for these players prove. So it's something where the Embers need to come out strong and they need to try and get these advantages early because in the longer drawn out series, you can't help but feel like it is the Tempest who have more of an advantage.
Right. So if I were to guess, if this series were to go only 3 games, I would say the Embers. But if it went to a 5 game series, I would say Tempest. Right.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, I think the Embers can absolutely upset it, and of course, it is a best of seven.
best of
So
7. Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Sorry.
so
So.
and I think that's what we saw when we saw Embers versus
Ooh.
Wranglers was that momentum from the Embers. We saw the 4-0, and if they can get that going, then there's absolutely a way that they even repeat that upset. But again, it's all about starting off here in game one, and so far it's been the Tempest with a lot of pressure in this orange half.
Right, definitely. And we didn't say it before. Tempest in blue, Embers in orange, as our game is underway. 80 seconds in. Still no goals left to be scored so far, but we've got ourselves plenty of action. Some back and forth with the ball towards the front of the net, and Fort not making that save. The net's wide open for Baston. How do you want to say his name?
I
B
was just going with Bustin.
Buston, busting some moves, busting a goal right there.
Absolutely is. Yeah, as you said, just for not getting the save that he wanted, and it leaves it wide open. And those are the kinds of mistakes that you can't make against the Tempest. As I said on the desk, you can't mess up rotationally. You especially can't mess up a save like that because they will punish. And so far, it's just been Tempest pressing into their opponent's half, getting the small advantage. That is a slight double commit, which may allow Koala to transition this out. Can he get the tap mid? Does so to serve, but it's just a bit slow on the transition for the Embers. And so far, it has kind of been that for them. It's been a slow start to this game one. Even that miss there, just not looking the most confident.
2 minutes have passed here, and we've got ourselves. I mean, say not too. Well, okay. I was about to say you said not too competent. I don't see where that comes from, and well, I
Well,
see it now.
yeah, I'm not sure what happened there, but the Tempest just kind of pushed 3 players to the midcourt, the midfield line, and Serve hits it from his own half, finds the goal, and that's one way to get the game tied up.
Definitely is, and that's an over committal. And Koala, he'll just ruin that tie there. That the Tempest took a while to get back, and sorry. The Embers just tied up this game, and now they added a goal onto it right away, 3 seconds afterwards. That is not good for Tempest. Not a good
Yeah,
sign.
I mean, you don't really expect to see. I mean, of course, those goals happen. This is A-League. You'll see a goal like that, especially with the Tempest. They're feeling confident. They're up 1-0. They're going to push forward and be aggressive. But you're just not expecting the answer to be this, as the Embers get 1 goal. And then suddenly like, oh yeah, wait a second. We're good at this game.
Oh wait, that's how you score. Oh, okay. Let's do that over and over again. That's literally what they're looking like right now. Maybe they just realized how to car ball. And that's why they were in the wild card position, right? And Tempest, I mean, they might have had their number early on, right? But I mean, especially in this best of 7 first to 4 series, right? You've got yourself a lot of opportunities for momentum swings. And so, yeah, maybe right now the Embers are hot, pun intended. But Tempest might come through and storm back a victory. Again, pun intended.
We'll have to see, but it's a 3-1 lead right now for the Embers. Each player sharing themselves a goal between. And it's Hemisphere just come off of the Tempest a little bit lackluster on the defensive side. And I said that's where their strengths were, but again, just where's the challenge on the defensive wall? Serve just drives this one into the net.
And yeah, literally driving that one into the net. And there was 2 goalies there, Bustin, and I do believe it was No You. But well, I guess I guess Serve just served him an Uno reverse card.
Yeah, I I'm not quite sure what is happening here with the Tempest, but it really does feel like a case of sometimes what you have with these teams where they come in, they get the first goal, they're feeling confident, they start pushing forward, and then it just gets thrown back into their face, and they're just taking too long to kind of adapt to suddenly the Embers being this confident and suddenly just pushing the pace as soon as they realize that they could press those advantages.
And, well, you're seeing those advantages being pressed. They're serving Tempest with a hat trick there. And, yeah, the coals underneath Tempest's is really, really heating up.
Yeah, this is kind of brutal. This is a 5-1. A minute and 19 seconds left. 3 goals for Serb. Has a hat trick. Well.
There's your incompetence coming back. That looks like a goal that they'd let in goal, you know.
A bit of a unfortunate side flip there from Serb. You know, he's got 3 goals. We'll give him that one. But it's still something where you look at this and you say, what is happening to the Tempest? And it just feels like they were not ready for the Embers to come out this aggressive and this just, I mean, on top of their shooting.
Right, especially with the accuracy, right? The accuracy's been on point, on goal. I mean, those 6 shots have completely been dangerous too, right? It's not like these have been weak shots. Maybe they aren't in the best positions to make the saves, but these shots are not weak whatsoever. And I mean, they deservedly so go into the net. So most of the times you'd love to see a save out of these players in those situations.
Yeah. For the Tempest, as I said, that was their strong suit in the regular season, was their defense, but they're just getting run across the field as Serb has managed to serve up a 4th goal. It's a 6-2 lead. It is game 1, just absolutely in the bag for the Embers. And you're seeing why they 4-0 the Wranglers right here.
Yeah, and we've got ourselves 28 seconds left until the end of the game, and I mean, this is the end of game 1, of course, right? We've got a total of 4 at minimum and 7 at most. And hey, maybe we could get like a 5-minute overtime so it feels like 8.
For maybe, but for now, the 10-second countdown is approaching. No, you taking this one across the goal, but it's just constant challenge after challenge from the Embers, not giving any space. They're not going to let the Tempest even feel comfortable. At the end of the game, it drops, but that's a 6-2 win in game 1. Tempest looked completely stunned that game. Just, I mean, not in position on defense. And it didn't even feel like they were really reacting to the shots that were coming through.
Yeah, exactly. Embers felt like they were in the driver's seat the entire time. Nothing was phasing them, and the Tempest just never really had an answer. And every time something happened, it felt like there was a double commit, and just poor rotations all around.
Yeah. I mean, as you point out, that second goal from Serb, where he hits it off the sidewall, it bounces off the corner, 1 player challenges, he misses, okay. You can accept that. You have 2 players in net, but then neither of those 2 players challenge. Right. And Serb just drives up, side rolls it in. Those are the types of goals that the Tempest really shouldn't be allowing, as we see it there on the replay for us. But even if they didn't let those in, you still had the Embers outpacing the Tempest. They were rotating so much quicker than the Tempest. And as well, just, I mean, the pace of the challenges that they were coming through on the sidewall. As the Tempest, you can't just be that complacent. You got to come into this game too, and you got to think of something.
I mean, think of something. I mean, you got to fight fire with fire, right?
Perhaps. We'll see if they come out with a bit more aggression, perhaps.
Maybe bring some heat.
Another one of our teams.
As we continue on, game number 2 is underway, and I've already made irony bad. Let's go. It's only been 5 minutes, and he's already been tired of my voice. I think that's a record on my end.
Yeah, we love giving production a hard time. It's into game number 2.
For sure.
30 seconds gonna go by, and no goals just yet, but Serb is looking to get this one off the backboard, and this Koala doesn't put away the shot, but still, again, that's another thing where you look at it and you say, where is the challenge? Because if Koala just aimed that a little bit more to the side, that was a goal.
Right, exactly. And right now, there is aggression coming out of this Tempest team, right, on offense. But the defense is all over the place. And, I mean, I'm gonna give the best, I think, description of what we're seeing right now. It feels like we're watching solo queue.
A little bit. I mean, it's just, it doesn't feel cohesive from the Tempest right now on these attacks. There's no real gameplay.
Oh.
And that's what you can really tell is, yeah. Koala.
Small plays like that coming out of the Embers are not seen on the side of Tempest for sure. I mean, these demo plays by Bustin have been coming through, right? He's been trying to get some bumps in demos, but other than that, like, nothing big, right? Like, they're not completing passes, they're not completing anything, right? And it just seems like they're misrotating and they're miscommunicating left, right, and center.
Yeah, I mean, we're even seeing, you know, the player that we expected to be doing the most work, which is Disby, even getting out-rotated, but finally he's going to be able to find a pass to No You, gets the favorable 50, and that's going to be, I mean, again, the opening goal for the Tempest, but it's, after that last game, it's a question of can they hold on to this lead even?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it took them 101 seconds here to get it, so hopefully they don't lose it quickly. Well, they're going to extend it. Nope, they're not going to be doing that. Nope. They can't even be given a free goal. Titan, they can't even be given goals.
That's how you know something's up. Something's a bit wrong.
Throwing. They're literally throwing. They got painted skins. They turned into iBuyPower.
I wouldn't go that far, but there is something you can definitely tell the Tempest are not feeling it right now as Koala off the ceiling can get this one to the backboard, and Ford just is left alone, gets the shot. Two players miss, and Koala just says thank you.
What are they doing? Oh no, it's on the goal line, and you can see both players just jumping for it. Huh? Instead of rolling up behind it, then jumping and aerialing it out, right? They just randomly jump at it. Sus plays coming out of this Tempest team. Are you, like, how'd they get Grand Champ in any of these things, you know? Like,
I mean,
I feel like they'd be doing something extremely illegal in Korea right now, which is boosting.
It's certainly a situation where right now it feels like for the Tempest, there is, I think the confusion on their rotation is not helping them.
No,
because
not at all.
You have the double commits coming through, and then they're having to communicate and get themselves back into rotation. And by the time they're doing that, you already have more shots coming through. And so I think that's what you saw there, where you have, you know, Bustin and No You. They're both on the goal line. They both want to go for it, but see their teammate, and so it causes that kind of premature jump where they're not actually sure when they could, if they could have the time to drive up to it. And it's just, these things are compounding, and the Tempest haven't been able to deal with it just yet. The game's tied up, it's 1-1 only, but still, after seeing that, you're still a bit worried.
I am definitely worried right now because I'm looking at the Embers, right? And I could see crisp rotations, right? If something doesn't go your way, even on the offense, this be with a beautiful goal there as No You finally hits a beautiful pass. There you go. There's some communication. And, I mean, look at that. The rotations were actually kind of good there on the Embers side as well. But Koala just hesitated a little too much instead of going up and challenging the pass earlier on. He waited until Disby hit his shot, and it just waited a little too long.
Yeah, and we are seeing, you know, flashes of brilliance here from the Tempest.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, again, it's still a question of can they keep that up for long enough to manage to convert the game? As this one is a dangerous bounce. Finally, Bustin's going to be able to get to it. Wallet tries to take control. Should be able to actually catch this. Fort. And it's a minute left. The Tempest have themselves a one-goal lead. This is the best position they've been in since game one was a utter stomp. But they have to hold on. That touch from Fort will give them a bit more time.
I mean, listen, right? They've had flashes, as you've said, but I feel like the Embers have been consistent. They haven't really changed how they played. And their rotations are so good because they are abandoning plays. up in the front when they see, okay, we can't do this, right? Don't over-rotate, just rotate back, we retreat, we grab that ball back, right? And so that's what they've been doing. And no over-rotations, proper rotations coming out of this team, and that's not something you see a lot in this league, and that's great to see as the net is left wide open. The game is tied at 12 seconds left, tied 2-2, and we might see overtime here, Titan.
The Tempest, they just needed to hold on, but no, he goes for the boost. He goes for the boost, and it's a trap. It's a trap. And the pass comes through. It's left wide open. As you said, tied up 2-2. Koala getting his second assist. And now Koala looking to go for a third. Doesn't have the boost for the double tap, and it's denied anyway. But you have the Embers now trying to close it in regular time to finish this game. The ball should drop to the ground. Overtime is here. And the Tempest, it looked like you had this game confirmed, but now you have to fight tooth and nail for it.
Tooth and nail needs to be fought over this game, but the Embers looking strong once again, but can the Tempest pull something out, right? Can they get something done here? Because they've shown us their flashes of brilliance, and that is, again, a very dangerous play. They've been doing the more dangerous plays, but they've not been doing them consistently. And, I mean, they've been doing high-risk plays for sure, with a lot of cutting off and in the rotations and a lot of over-rotating on their end compared to the Embers especially.
Yeah, staying where they really can't afford to. Two players commit there for that save, but Bisbee does manage to get it out. Serve is up dangerously here. This could be an open net for No You with the back flip, but the miss! No You expected the defender to be there. Doesn't matter because Busted just 50s it through. That is one way to end the overtime.
Oh no, everyone just turned into Potato League suddenly, right? This Potato League clip 100%. As everyone finishes there with Tempest finally getting themselves a win. I mean, well deserved, honestly. They led for most of that match, and I feel like the Embers played just a little too conservatively that match, right? They were just a little too hesitant to go off after those balls, right? They retreated way too much. They didn't try for opportunities unless they knew they were going to win those opportunities, right? And it didn't feel like there was any desperation on the side of the Embers.
Yeah, I mean, even in the end there, of course, that was an unfortunate play at the end for the Tempest to close that out, but it still didn't feel, I don't know, it just didn't feel convincing. It didn't feel like a game where you say, oh yeah, the Embers answered back. It's tied 1-1. They got this. They're back into form. It feels like, well, you look better, but still there were so many mistakes and there were so many things that allowed the Embers to get back into a game that it felt like the Tempest should have been able to close out much easier.
All right, we're tied at 1, so we've got a minimum now of 5 games being played, right? And obviously that maximum of 7 is obviously what we want, right? We want to get absolutely tuckered out here before watching the other matches that will take place later on today, or tonight, I should say, as Game 3 is underway.
See how the Embers come out. Now tied up 1-1, of course. Wanted to probably to turn that overtime into a 2-0 lead. That would have been ideal for them. That would have been, I mean, the perfect start to your series against the top team coming out of the regular season. But nonetheless, still, you want to see them keep up their play. Is that the one thing that they have had going for them throughout these 2 games is that they have been consistently good on all fronts. And it's really, I mean, it's been like the one mistake there in overtime, and the other 2 shots that went through from the Tempest were just the Tempest making some genuinely good shots finally.
Right, exactly. And the Tempest getting something through, right? And just like that, they squeak it by. There's barely any space left there, and they somehow find it through the twine. Just low enough for it to go in.
Oh, yeah. A perfect shot from Disney. You could tell the defender didn't even think that it was going in, didn't jump for it. But the bar down ski comes through, and once again, the Tempest, as it has been every game, opening up with that first goal, but that really doesn't seem to mean much to the Embers. They have had no trouble with finding an answer, whether it be in 30 seconds or within, or in 3 minutes.
Here's the thing, right? Is that the Embers have not been forcing any plays out of the Tempest here, right? So they've been scoring at quite a nice pace, but they never forced anything, right? So all these mistakes were coming out of the Tempest's end, and so the Tempest here have not made a mistake so far in this game, and they only made 2 in the last game. And it just showed that they tightened up, and they've been playing a lot. Still, their risky game, as you could see there, right? A little too much risk over rotations caused another goal here. But every time they make a mistake, Embers are there, but they're not creating these mistakes out of the Tempest. The Tempest are doing it to themselves.
I was gonna say, okay, Koala, that was a pretty shot, but as you are saying, it isn't really the Embers that are forcing rotational errors through, you know, multiple shots in a row, bringing the ball back and forth across the net. It is a lot of times, you know, overstaying on the offensive end or just being out of position on defense on the Tempest side. But that's finally a shot from Koala where you look at that and you say, sure, the Tempest overstayed, but that was a beauty of a shot to put through. It does tie up this game, and as we've been saying, the Embers, they have had no trouble with finding comfortable goals. And so it's really just a question of how do the Tempest keep up. It's despite the fact that the Embers are in the driver's seat, it really does almost feel like these games, what decides it is, all right, how will the Tempest play in this game?
Well, let's see how they do, right? Because right now we're halfway through this game, and the Tempest have been doing well enough, but honestly, it's all down to the mistakes that they make. And I mean, I think this is the first goal that the Embers have actually forced a mistake out here, because these were perfect rotations here. It's just that No You misses this ball, hesitates just a little too much. I don't think he had any boost left, which caused that goal. Had he had like 10-20 boosts, that's not in.
Yeah, I mean, that Disby being forced up, the confusion on which of those two players that went for the shot was actually going to hit it, means that the Embers find the lead finally with 2 minutes and 20 seconds. All they have to do is either hold on to this or even extend it, as they have shown a propensity for doing when in the lead. Bustin to get this one off the corner, but Serve picks it up. Just keep going with it, but Koala's just there to follow it. Again, these quick rotations here from the Embers are so clean. That's a triple commit from the Tempests. That should have been an easy clear, but now you see it's going to stay in this blue half for just a little bit longer than they would like. And again, that's just the small things that you see, and those, while they may not be immediately dangerous, do kind of start to add up when you're making a lot of mistakes like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, they're just mistakes overall, right? These triple commits, double commits, right? It's really coming back to bite them here. I mean, they're now down by a goal, right? And they need to get back into this. They need to show us that their risk-reward strategy works, right? They are very aggressive, but they're over-rotating. They're leaving no survivor behind. That's, I think, the first time the Embers have not been successful in putting in a goal through an open net. And there you go. That's a good play by No You, keeping the ball in their own zone, but making sure that they're not hot potatoing the ball away. Not right away, anyways, as Koala pops it up into the air. Can No You make the save? It's slow, but yes, he does, as it's pitched back into midfield.
It was actually kind of crazy from Koala. I don't think he was expecting that, but yeah, as you said, that open net miss is pretty massive here for the Embers, because it means that the Tempest, they're still comfortably in this game. They can still find one goal, and that will be all that they need to try and, you know, tie it up. And here we go. Oh, Disby off the ceiling. It's beautiful.
That is nutty. That is disgusting. And I don't think anyone here expected it. No one, again, challenges it. That is, again, a situation where they're stuck looking, right? They're twiddling their thumbs, waiting for the shot to come through when they should be challenging it.
Absolutely. You have two players in net. There's no reason why someone shouldn't be going up to cut off the angles. And that means that Disby, I mean, again, it was a great ceiling shot nonetheless, but being given that time to find it has tied this game up for the Tempests. The Embers are still closing in. They're still looking for that gap. They're trying to end this in regulation. They got 10 seconds to do so, while also not conceding on the other end, which might be dangerous here, as there's the shot from No You. And the Tempest get a late lead.
Very, very late in the 10 seconds left to go. Less than 2% of this game. is left on this clock, right? They're 98% done on the progress bar. And all they need to do now is to finish the execution here. Can it be done, or will they let a goal in the last 5 seconds here? Koala grabs that ball from serve, back towards the front, it hits the floor. And there you go, another win for Tempest. They're up 2-1 now. Their risky strategies have worked out for them, but they could have gone down by 2 earlier on in this game, down to 3-1. And I don't think they would have been able to come back from that point down. But yeah, these 1-goal games, the second someone will get into a 2-goal lead, I don't think either team is going to be able to come back here. Embers are playing way too conservatively, and the Tempest are playing way too riskily.
I mean, you got to feel there, though, for the end of that game for Koala and Fort, respectively, as Koala misses the open net. And then it was Fort. I think if he had stayed on the ground, actually, the double miss, he could have just tried to finish it off there. But hindsight is 2020. The Tempest pick up game number 3. They're heading to a 2-1 lead. And for the Embers, it's still been great play. But again, as you mentioned, we're starting to see a bit of cracks in the rotational speed, like we saw at the start of game 1, where they're not really necessarily challenging the touches that they need to. Disby off the ceiling, and then Koala just being slightly out of position on the cross for that 3rd goal. It's just these small things that they are now starting to slack on, that they still need to keep on top of. And if they can do that, if they can, not even stop the those shots immediately, but cut off the amount of angles that they can go for, that does a world to kind of get them really back into the position that they were in that game.
So game 4 is underway. Thank you very much, Dr. Hitshot, for the sub. And we are off to the races once again. Now with the Embers down 2-1, the Embers might have to change up their game plan here. They're playing well. They're playing consistently, right? The only mistakes they're making are not the same mistakes, but they're making they're making forced mistakes. Sorry, they're being forced upon by this risky team on the Tempest side to make risky plays. The only ones where they've really made like self-made errors is when they haven't gone up to challenge the ball in the air.
Yep, and we already see that changing. Serve was immediately up to challenge the ceiling touch from Disby. Did at least manage to put it in a position where his teammate could come through, but now you're even seeing, just a bit of miscommunication here. Fort and Koala getting each other's way. It's starting to, some cracks are appearing here for the Embers, and you can definitely guess that's from frustration, because those last 2 games, it felt like they should have been probably the ones to take it, but oh my!
I don't care that goes in. Oh. Are you sure these guys are drag shadows? Are we sure?
That was...
Can we do like an internal check here? Like, can we make sure these accounts aren't boosted? Are we looking at plat by accident? Oh man.
I mean, that's stream day nerves. What I'll say for that.
It is stream day nerves. 100%. You're being streamed. You're being watched on by 40 to 50 people, right? And so of course people are going to make a clip here and there, and oh wow, you played so well, or on the other end of the spectrum, haha, you did so bad. And it's gonna be a mix of both, right? And seeing that these players here are doing okay, right? For the most part, only letting in 2 to 3 goals per game, it's not that bad, right? Only a few mistakes here and there, and I mean Bustin was there to put it away, which at the end of the day is all that really matters.
Yeah, it's just, and the reason why they are so glaring is because these teams have been playing so well, right? Like outside of that, is that we were like, oh my god, that was really awful. But with that being said, despite the fact that we had crazy 3 whiffs, it is the Tempest with a 1-0 lead again, starting off every single game here with that first goal. But the Embers are starting to close in again, and I feel like somehow the Embers seem to get stronger when they're behind. I don't know what it is, but when they're behind, they just get more aggressive, which is kind of counterintuitive to what you'd usually expect. But again, we're seeing, now them challenge these things off the wall. They're just getting in the way before they even really have time for their opponents to turn it into a play.
Funny little stat from the first 3 games. Yes, Tempest have always scored the first goal, but Embers have scored the second goal each and every time, tying it at 1. Every game so far has had a 1-1 scoreline.
Boston
Worked. Great
tried
save.
to break that.
Yeah.
The Embers say no, but serve. That's not the save you want. Disby's up. Can't find the angle. It's an awkward position here for the Embers. They're all out of boost. They're all just not the best position, but Fork gets 2 great 50-50s. Is just going to try and take control. Something hands it off to the opponents. And you're starting to see the Tempest just close in.
The Tempests are trying to close in, but they're almost goaling on themselves as well. As I said, risky plays, risky rewards, right? And sometimes those rewards are not what you seek after, right? And nearly an own goal there after chasing the ball just a little bit too hard, as all 3 players now were inside of the crease. And Doyu's the only man in the net right now, and he'll get absolutely faked out. Bussin', where are you? You are the man who's supposed to be in the net. You just rotate out of being in the net to go for boost.
I mean, it's a situation where, of course, he's expecting his teammate to get that touch, but no, you just, I mean, it's happened quite a bit on defense where No You has made these misreads of plays. And again, off the back wall, Koala! No, the save from No You, it doesn't matter! Serve puts it through, gets his second, and in 10 seconds, the Embers just turn it around.
Oh, they definitely do. And Tempest forget how to play Rocket League in the last minute here. These are unfortunate misplays that can't be happening if you're Tempest, right? You want to win this series, and you've been showing great flashes, but this Embers team is clearly capable of giving you your just desserts here, right? If you leave your net wide open, they're there to put it in. If you leave, if you give them space, they will use that space. And they definitely do all of that, right? They use all of that space. But the one thing going for this Tempest team, the demos, right? They've gotten themselves the space thanks to that. And, I mean, they've been forcing some errors thanks to those demos. But with the ball being up in the air, 0 seconds on the clock, they would need to carry this into the back of the Embers net. Can they continue carrying it on? Pop up for Bustin! It's wide, not kept up in the air for long enough. And the Embers will put it down. That was a great play to bring it from your own corner down towards the other side. Sadly, it's just too wide.
And the Embers managed to close out game 4. They tie us up once again, and this series is absolutely bonkers. This is wild. I did not expect this to be happening. But here we are. And, I mean, one thing that I do want to come to, we've talked enough about the mistakes. And we, of course, will probably have to talk more about them for both these teams, because that is what is allowing a lot of these goals to come through, is some unforced errors. But I got to say, I asked for Serve to step up if the Embers want to have a chance here. And boy, has he been doing that.
Oh, yeah. We've been seeing a lot coming out of these players. They've been doing some work here, right? Game 1 is nothing like game 4, right? We see both these teams getting into a rhythm. Normally, we'll see teams changing up their style, right? Changing up their strategies, maybe changing up how they play to throw off the other team. We've not seen that whatsoever. These teams are just continuing to play as they have been since game 1. They're happy to do so because their strategies are so different that the outcome at the end of the day is 50-50. Right? Will the conservatives win? Will the conservative Ember side win this? Right? Or will the risky investment firm strategy out of the Tempest win? And it's allowed them. It's allowed the Tempest to start off every game with a goal, and it's allowed the Embers to respond with a goal of their own every single game. Will that change now? No, Disby with a save there. And yeah, I think yeah. We're in for a good series, man. 2 more games at the minimum, 3 at most.
Yeah, It is absolutely crazy how this series has been going. It's been trading back and forth at every step of the way, but now we are into game number 5. And this is the real important one, because whoever wins this game 5 goes on to match point. They will have pretty much, they will have that 3-2 lead. They'll just need one more win and they will take it all. They will head to the grand finals. And both these teams so hungry for it. I mean, the Embers were constantly one-upped by the Tempest in their own division throughout all of the regular season. And to now have a chance to show that they are in fact the better team, that they have improved.
I mean, yes, there are some trade deadline acquisitions, right? Oh yeah, well, you could talk about that all you want, but the team itself just feels overall better. Especially on the side of Embers, just feels like their communication is on key, right? Like, okay, you'll see a double commit here and there, but that's expected when you're playing in Platinum like we are right now. So to see these mistakes, right, it is normal, right? And to see that these players are coming along, figuring out a strategy that works for them, right? Both teams figuring out strategies that work for them. Koala, what a save! Coming back through as Disney just slightly missed. And that will give them a tie game still, as it should be 1-0 for Tempest.
Yeah, that was such a dangerous situation, but Koala has the read. Fans the save, but it's the Tempest who have been pressing for the past minute or so now, constantly trying to keep this ball into the orange half, trying to disrupt their opponents. Disby here might be able to get this one first, and does actually beat out Fort. It's dangerous. Serve misses, but so did 2 other players who were expecting him to hit it. And now Bustin, tackled by Koala. It's back down into the Tempest end. And you know what? You can never really read how this game is going to go.
Nope. Not at all. And it's because of these 2 different strategies, right? Again, risky versus timid and reactive, right? They are retreating back into their own zone. They're not afraid to play defensive up against this offensive Tempest team, right? And once they're in the offense, they feel very comfortable being there. And Fort very, very close to getting it in. But he's not able to. 2 minutes left on the clock, and he's going to go for it again. He's going to try and carry this in, but tackled up in the air, and Disby will put this one away. Back into the midfield, though. Koala takes it. Bustin gets hit, but he's able to get the save on Koala. But Bustin goes away from the net. It's very risky. Bustin leaving the net at the most inopportune times might cause a goal here, and it does. Koala fighting the ball. 99 seconds left on the clock. And you know what else only has 99? It is the problems on the side of Tempest, because the Embers are now one of them.
Oh, that was great, as Koala finally managed to put it through. It was a long and arduous process there, though. So many shots came through in a row for the Embers. As I said, they waited for their time to strike, and then they put everything into it. And it was the bump that did it. It was Serve coming through, clearing out the net after he missed his shot. It allowed for that to happen. And now for the first time ever, that was a tied-up game. This was the first time that we've really seen the 0-0 scoreline continue past the first, even minute. But 3.5 minutes, the Embers find the first goal. They've broken the cycle, and now they just have to hold on for a minute to manage to take this game 5 and to send themselves to match point.
But will they be able to tie it up here? Because we've seen 1-1 games throughout this entire series. Yes, Tempest haven't scored first here, but they're still capable of making some goals happen here. 46 seconds left. It's in the corner of the Embers. It's so close to hitting the top corner. Bustin is not there, though. No use trying to come up from behind. Disby, will he be able to make the save from underneath? Very close to not to, but he hits it off the crossbar and down off the post. Bustin, he'll miss that ball. Disby, he gets bumped, but he's still able to get the ball cleared out. He doesn't get bumped again. He'll dodge it for a second time. Fourth, he's able to make the save on No You. Serve will pick this up into his own zone, off of the back wall, off of the side wall, my bad. Bustin tries to keep it in the zone. That won't happen. 10 seconds left. Serve puts it in. Last opportunity here for the Tempest. Disby gets a nice little touch up in the air. Will pass it straight to Koala, and the streak is broken. No 1-1s this time, as the Tempest get blanked. Zeros all across the board here. Koala puts in his second goal, and it is a 2-0 win here for the Embers. 3 seconds left. No way of a comeback here for Tempest, unless they get pinch goals twice off of the kickoff, but that's not happening here. There's no such script that can make this happen, ladies and gentlemen. And we are in a 3-2 situation where the Embers have a chance to put this one away, putting the Tempest, who were the big brother the entire time in their division, and put it away as Koala tried to get his hat trick, but the time takes it away from him.
Oh my, that was... I mean, so close on the ending. Disby just unfortunately getting an off touch on that final save, that final clear that he really needed to get. And Koala's able to come through, gets 2 of his own, and something, I mean, I really want to mention for the Embers, as you said, I mean, we've talked about the consistency, just the patience, the rotations that they've been keeping up all this time. The Tempest have been able to match it. I think both these teams are finally playing at a decent level. We aren't seeing as many mistakes. I say that on bar, and I think this is really where a lot of issues are coming through for the Tempest from No You. I think he has been underperforming so far this series, and it's been consistent. At first, it was all of the Tempest, but it is now just really, I mean, some misses, some whiffs. I mean, just rotational errors from him. And
I mean, Bustin's been missing a few balls as well.
Yeah, but on the side of the Embers, you're not getting that. All 3 of their players have had a game where they have managed to contribute to this win.
Right.
And all of them have had incredible performances so far. It doesn't feel like, you know, you're constantly having one player on the bottom of the scoreboard for the Embers, and I think that's where the difference is coming through, as they're now 3-2 up. They're on match point. There is a chance the Embers get their second upset in a row by technicality, because really, let's be honest, I mean, it was an upset against the Wranglers, but they were probably not deserving of a wild card spot. But with that being said, if they can get this, they will have cemented themselves probably as even a favorite heading into that finals.
We get ready here for what's possibly the last match, but we could see a matcher out of the Tempest, because now with the chip on their with their chips all in, right? They've got nothing to fall back on here. This is their last bet. They need to double down here, and they need to win their bet. If they can, they'll be back at even, and then it'll be an all-in from both sides to see who wins. As No You fakes out 1, fakes out 2. Oh, he nearly gets the flick there. I don't know what he was trying to do with it, but that would have been sick had that actually hit the hood of his car in the end of that front flip. That was just a little bit of a weird flip there.
Yeah, that would have been one of those flicks that happens to you when you're playing ones and you throw down your controller, because you totally had saved it until the front of his car came forward and managed to pop it up. But it's not connected to for No You. The first minute's going to go by without any goal for these teams. And so far, once again, it's the Tempest just trying to constantly press 3 players. I mean, all 3 of them are above that midfield line. You're just seeing them packing in, trying to just constantly challenge and get these touches to not let the Embers have any space. And now you have Disby through the air, looks for the foot reset, gets it, but doesn't have enough height on his car to keep going with it. And this game, I mean, this game 6, you can just tell the tension is just poised for both of these teams.
Both teams are tensed up, and I mean, you can see both teams, right? They've been playing so much more uptight. They have been playing so much better and so much tighter, right? They are not letting anything go through. They're not letting anything get past. Both of them are making less mistakes, but they're also forcing less mistakes out of the other teams because they don't want to give them the advantage in any way, shape, or form. And right now, another game where we're going halfway through and there's still no goals to be found. And you know what? That being said, there's only 2 shots in total this game so far. And so you can really see that both teams, they don't really care about getting the ball on net. They just want to get the opportunity there, right? They want to make sure that the opportunity is right to shoot it on net. They don't want to just give that ball away and possibly get a shot off, right? That is just going to bounce back and get into enemy hands a lot quickly as that ball gets passed down by Fort to Koala, and it's beat by the crossbar. Koala's the last man back. He gets demoed, and so Fort and Serve will need to come back quickly. They do. They're able to get the ball cleared out. 2 minutes left on this clock. Tied at zeros.
And that was so close, but Disby just barely managed to redirect it up. It was the closest of affairs between that going straight in the crossbar. The bump on to No You. The shot from Koala is wide. The dunk back down, though, from Serve. It might be slow, but it caught every single defender off guard, and the Embers score first.
Embers once again scoring first. A minute and 44 seconds left, and Bustin nearly gets that save. He'll be kicking himself that he didn't, but we've still got ourselves 100 seconds left here, and that's enough time for Tempest to lose some precious goal differential here. Down by 2, 97 seconds here. Every time the Embers score, it's nearly like clockwork. They score a second one really, really quickly. It seems like every game, every time the Tempest let in a goal, they forget how to defend and let in another one.
I mean, Disby there was reading the touch. He didn't read the miss. He didn't expect his opponent. He respected his opponent so much that the miss actually messed him up more than had that touch come through. And that just means that now you have the Tempest. They're down 2. This is their last chance here in playoffs. They need to win this game to stay in it, but they have to find 2 goals in a minute, and that is such a hard ask against a team that has caused them to struggle to even find a 1-goal lead at a time. The Embers, they are looking poised. They are looking hungry for their second upset in a row. They got the tough side of the bracket. They got the hardest run, and they said, we're up for it, but that's an open.
No, you doing?
He pushed too far forward.
No, you. This is inopportune once again. No, you. Just a little bit over once again, right? We've seen this all throughout the match. No, you either hesitating a little bit too much or overextending or going a little too early as he just did. And there you go. Nail in the coffin. Dagger at the throat. I don't think this one is comebackable.
No, and it's unfortunate.
I think it's over.
Because, yeah, we all have these games. We all have these series where you're just not playing your best, and unfortunately, you know, it's just the mistakes from No You, especially in this game, were just too much, and it was compounding on top of the, you know, the lead that the Embers already had, and it just makes them ever more glaring. But all in all, the Embers, they played a better series. They had the better 3-man roster. Every single player for them, Fort, Koala, and Surf, had a game where they had a carry performance, where they were the ones that led the scoring. And the same can't be said for the Tempest. They were unable to bring it together. The Embers, all 3 of them, a valiant effort. They get the 4-2. They have gotten their second upset in a row, and they are on to the grand finals.
And there goes everyone's channel points, right? Because obviously, why would you vote against Tempest, right? They had the number. And I mean, they've been able to beat Embers every step of the way, right? But the Embers, they've finally found the right recipe to kick the Tempest back down the curb, right? Better luck next season, they say. And good luck to the Embers in the finals. Who will they upset next?
It really is a question. I mean, after a performance like that, you can't help but feel like they are the new favorites, the new top dog coming into those finals, whoever faces them. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a short break. When we come back, we're going to have an interview with Serve from the Embers to see how he's feeling after that win. So don't go anywhere, and we'll be right back with more RLPC.